Hi everybody, welcome to our practice. It's my pleasure to be here with you today, gathering all of your yoga things that you might like to use. And let's take a seat in Sukhasana, some height underneath the hips so that our legs can really open and pacify towards the ground. Widening our buttocks apart with our hands, manually making that space. And then turning the palms up to the sky and the eyelids closing. Soft, smooth inhalations and exhalations. Relax the feet, the ankles. Relax the knees, the thighs. Relax the shoulders and feel the face soften and release expression. And then lifting the hands and pressing the palms together, bringing alertness as we press the palms together. Roll the shoulders back and feel a new awareness in the sternum chest. And on the next inhale, fill that space with the inhale. Hold it expanded as you exhale. And opening our practice together with one more. And then the hands releasing, the eyelids opening. And we are ready to begin. All right, moving whatever we were sitting on and bringing our mats straight to the wall. We're going to open with a classic kind of what I call a Faik Biriya entry. It will be Adho Mukha Svangasana, hands against the wall, Uttanasana, followed by Adho Mukha Svangasana, heels against the wall, Padmasana. So coming in, thumb and index finger touching. Straighten the arms, inner elbows facing the wall. Turn the toes under, and with an exhalation, finding Adho Mukha Svangasana. Keep the inner elbows facing the wall. Don't let them turn in as we come into our Adho Mukha Svangasana. Use your eyes to check your legs and what your legs are doing. Are the feet vertical? Could you lift the heels higher? And when you lift the heels higher, what do you feel in the buttocks? Can you feel that they rise up to the sky? And in this way we can really stretch the lower spine more effectively. And then use your eyes to check your shins and push the shins back. Feel how the knees become firmer. And then looking at your front thighs and push the front thighs back and feel the weight of the pose really starting to move back. We want to follow that, the weight of the pose moving back. And 2. And 1. Walking in, feet the width of the mat. Heels turned out, toes turned in, coming as close as we can. Holding onto the upper arms, elbow tips to the wall, hanging Uttanasana. Feel both of the feet. Feel that you're standing on the 4 wheels of each foot. Notice the tendencies that you have and micro-adjust as needed. Building up from that through the ankles, lifting the inner ankles, lifting the outer ankles, lifting the inner calves, lifting the outer calves, lifting the inner knees, lifting the outer knees. Traveling like this all the way up the length of the legs, greeting each part of the vehicle, deepening our connection, relaxing the grip of mental thoughts as we come into sensation and breath. And now releasing out of that and preparing for Padmasana, heels lifted and pressing back against the wall. So as we spread the fingers widely, try to maximize that each time. Make sure the inner elbows are facing forward and finding Adho Mukha Svanasana, the backs of the heels pressing to the wall. Spread the toes. Feel yourself standing on the balls of the feet and broaden the balls of the feet. Look at the feet and make sure the inner ankles aren't collapsing in towards each other. Lift the inner ankles. Press the heels back. Look at the shins and with an exhale, push the shins back. See how that engages the knees. Now look at the front thighs and with an exhale, push the front thighs back. Feel the heels pressing more and more, showing you that when you press the front thighs back, the weight moves back. Keep the arms well stretched. Breathing, traveling inside the body, traveling outside the body. And 2. And 1. Walking the feet forward, Padmasana. Heels slightly turned out. Legs perpendicular. Placing the hands underneath the feet, as far underneath the feet as possible, and press the toes down onto the base of the hand as you pull up, and then exhaling forward, Padmasana. The gaze is diffused. You're seeing forward, you're also seeing out of the temples, out of the sides of the eyes. A feeling of the eyes receding backwards so that you can ignite inner vision whilst also having that outer vision. And then looking back up, fingertips to the floor, and bending the knees, and coming down. Alright, straight into Sirsasana to heat up the spine, Sirsasana and variations. So we're going to get a blanket, move our mats a little bit away from the wall, and meet back on the mat. Let's start. Extending our arms, turning the palms to the sky, bringing the hands to the shoulders and scooping the outer elbows in. Placing those elbows, placing the forearms and the tips of the thumbs pressing against each other. Bringing the crown of the head to the floor. Bracing, finding that bracing action, the lats in, the shoulders lifting. And then turning the toes under, bringing more and more weight onto the forearms, onto the wrists, onto the elbows, and onto the bone between those 2 points, the feet becoming light, and then lifting the legs up, and finding Sirsasana 1. When you find that middle point where you feel to be right on the crown of the head, the legs charging up to the sky. Come back to the breath and observe the breath. Look for that evenness, that stability, so that even if the pose is wavering slightly, it's like a candle flame. You're not toppling over. There's a slight movement, a slight oscillation. But with the breath, the steadiness of the breath, the base of that candle flame also has that steadiness. Nice, steady, smooth presence. And keep harnessing the mind, sending it around the pose, micro-adjusting, renewing actions. observing the breath, keeping it harnessed in that way so that it releases its grip on kind of addictive thought patterns, attachment to specific stories, resting in the purity of asana and breath. Make sure the inner big toes are touching. And be in connection with the broadness of the balls of the feet, expressed by the spaces between all of the toes. And now find the outside edges of the feet and draw them down towards the outer hips as you push up through the inner ball of the foot. We're going to prepare for our first variation, Urdhva Dandasana. We're going to be lowering the legs until they are as parallel as possible to the mat. So press into the forearms, lift the shoulders up and brace. Have that firmness in the foundation of the pose. And then slowly, with control, lowering the legs. As you lower the legs, keep the inner big toes touching, the outside edges of the feet coming towards the outer hips, and you're pushing out through the inner balls of the feet. Inner groins are rolling to the sky. Femurs coming into the hip sockets. Keep lifting the shoulders up. Keep relaxing the face. And 2. And 1. Back up to Sirsasana 1. Wrap the muscles around the leg bones as you come up. And then charge the legs to the sky. Padmasana, Sirsasana. We're going to be turning, twisting from the waist, the legs moving towards the left. Inhale and exhale. Begin to turn and twist from the waist. Legs turning to the left, trunk turning to the right, although it's staying forward. Now press down into the forearms again, especially the outer wrists, and lift the shoulders up. And then back to the middle, Sirsasana. Ready for the other side with the exhalation. Inhale and exhale, turn and twist from the waist, legs moving to the right. Lift the shoulders up again, twisting and turning with each exhale. And 2. And 1. Back to the middle, Sirsasana. Ekapada Sirsasana. Keep the left leg fixed where it is, the heel firm, and slowly lowering the right leg. As you lower the leg, keep the femur coming into the hip socket. This will stop the leg from going down too fast, and it'll keep that structural integration in place. Re-lift the shoulders, re-lengthen the sides of both of your necks. Both sides of the neck. Attention to the breath, diffuse it evenly. And then back up to Sirsasana. Preparing to change sides, keep the right heel fixed. Lift the shoulders, slowly lowering the left leg. The femur well integrated into the hip, drawing it in as the leg comes down. Relax the jaw and any tension you may be taking on there. Try to be inside the pose, radiating out. Relift the shoulders. And then coming back up. Nice and slowly, grip the muscles around the legs. Lift the shoulders, lift the lats in. Sirsasana 1. And then we're going to come down to the mat and find Yogamudasana Vajrasana. Remember the interlock, which little pinky is underneath, because we'll be changing it when we come up to Sirsasana again. And then stretch the arms forward, Yogamudasana. Regularize the breath, lengthen the breath, broaden the breath. Now bring the hands behind the back. Interlock the fingers and keep the same little pinky that was underneath. And lift the arms up, tips of the thumbs touching, opening our shoulders a little bit between our Sirsasanas. And then bringing the arms back down and rolling back up to sitting. Vajrasana. All right, continuing with our Sirsasana, we are going to change the interlock of our fingers. So it's probably going to feel a little bit unsteadier because we always choose our favourite side first. Okay, so with that in mind, preparing. So I had my right little finger underneath first. I'm switching that. Tips of the thumbs touching. Coming in. Straightening the legs. And Sirsasana 1. Feeling ourselves as the link between the earth and the sky. So we're pressing down, connecting to earth, and we're lifting up, connecting to sky. Observe what the breath might be revealing to you through sensation. Where you feel it, how you feel it. What does that tell you about how you're holding the pose? What could be adjusted? Maintaining that psychology of exploration within our asanas, that curiosity. And now we're going to come to Upavishtakonasana in Sirsasana. So first of all, just widen the feet apart, but keep the heels touching. So turn the feet open and press the heels together. Feel how the thighs are rolling away from each other, how the inner knees are moving to the outer knees, how the big toes are going towards the little toes. And now, slowly lowering the legs away from each other, they're descending away. The femurs coming into the hips as the legs are descending down. So with control, pushing out through the balls of the feet, the outside edges of the feet coming towards the outer hips, and pushing out through the inner ball of the foot. So that pushing out and that drawing back in. Now check that your outer wrists haven't gotten light, and if they have, really press them down and simultaneously lift your shoulders up, lift the lats in. Long, soft, smooth inhalations and exhalations. Each breath a chance to reignite actions, to become pure and pure in our awareness of sensation. And now from here we're going to bend the knees and come to Baddha Konasana. So bending the knees and pressing the soles of the feet together. The inner groins roll into the outer groins, the inner knees to the outer knees. Try to bring more and more delicacy to the sensitivity of your feet. At first we just start off feeling the feet pressing together. Then we feel the heels pressing and the balls of the feet pressing. And then we can divide the heel into two. The bottom half of the heel, the top half of the heel, and so forth, until we become more and more the feet themselves. Now we're going to straighten the legs back up to Sirsasana 1. And slowly beginning our descent. And finding Yogundrasana, Vajrasana. Re-broaden the shoulders. Make sure that the skin of the forehead is gently moving towards the nose, and that the trapezius muscles and the shoulder blades are moving down the back. And now bring the hands behind the back, staying with that same interlock, so referring through the little pinky, interlock the fingers, tips of the thumbs touching, lift the arms back up, shoulder openers on this side. Keep trying to lengthen the collarbones, to roll the front shoulders open. And then bringing the arms back down. Child's pose with an exhalation. Releasing all tension that we come into contact with. Melting, letting go completely. And then rolling back up. And taking a breath in Padmasana. Upper outer arms moving back, elbows back. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, pacifying exhalation. All right, let's now move this out of the way, take a strap and come back to the mat for some Padmasana work. So we have our strap, remembering that if you think you might need some supports to access Supta Padmasana, then definitely take a bolster, blankets, whatever you need. And also, if full Padmasana is not yet available to you, doing Ardha Padmasana, half Padmasana, and with time. Okay, so here we are, preparing our straps. We're going to tie our legs up so that when we lie down, the knees don't separate, which is a tendency. So starting with our right leg in Padmasana first, and going with the idea of offering ourselves the leg. It changes the whole psychology inside the body. So hands underneath the calf, lifting up and offering the foot to the very top of the thigh. The kneecap facing forward rather than out to the side if possible. And then deciding if you're ready to offer the left leg up or if you're going to be staying in half Padmasana. And wherever you're at, placing the strap. And if you're in half Padmasana, just making sure that the strap is holding the edge of that bottom foot. Sitting tall, sitting straight, widening the sit bones apart with your hands several times so that you feel that you're sitting on the inner edge of the sit bones. Collarbones long. The spine, a passageway that the breath can be guided upon. And with each inhale, lifting the pelvic floor up, the belly button up, the solar plexus up, the sternum broadening, feel that new length and feel the way we're inhabiting that new space inside. And now bringing the arms in front, interlocking our fingers, thumbs touching, turn the palms out, Padmasana in Padmasana. Travel to the tops of your feet, the dorsal feet, and press them down into the thighs. And as you press them down, lift the pelvic floor up and find new length that's fountaining out of that grounded earth connection. And then bring the hands down. We're going to change the interlock. So the other little pinky goes underneath, tips of the thumbs touching. Turn the palms out. And lifting up, Padmasana, Padmasana. Re-dynamize the dorsal feet, press down. And on your next inhale, gently lift and tighten the pelvic floor upwards and travel up with that. A fountain rising up, that's it. And 2. And 1. Coming back down. And releasing. We're going to make our way into Supta Padmasana. So as we come down, of course, we're tilting our pelvis so that the buttocks are moving towards the knees over and over again, so that as much as possible when we lie down, the anal mouth is facing the front of the mat. It's not dropping to the ground. So moving the buttocks towards the front of the mat so the anal mouth as much as possible is facing the front of the mat. And then lifting the arms up, thumbs together, and stretch the arms back. Press the dorsal feet down onto the thighs. Over and over again, learning how to create density in that way that grounds the pose, that anchors the pose. And the more we can press down there, when we stretch the arms, we'll feel an even greater penetration, an opening that's from an entirely deeper level inside. Spread even the palms, spread even the tips of your fingers. And then bringing the arms back up, releasing. We're going to come up halfway onto our elbows, coiling the upper back, coiling, head back, press the shoulder blades up, and coming down to be on the crown of the head. Now hands on the outer thighs, and pull the crown of the head closer to the buttocks. Try to reduce the distance of the head to the buttocks. Keep the dorsal feet pressing down. Breathing. And if we feel ready, release the hands from the thighs. Maintain that even pressure of the crown of the head pressing down, the shoulders lifting up, shoulder blades pressing up. And then extend the arms back. Dynamically, palms facing each other. And now bend the elbows and hold on to the upper outer arms. And peel the elbows down to the ground as you press the shoulder blades up. Pulling the elbows down, pressing the dorsal feet down, pressing the shoulder blades up, the back ribs up, the ribs right underneath the shoulder blades, pressing them up. Feeling them open, the front accordion of the ribs. That's it. And 3, and 2, and 1. Restretch the arms. And change the cross of the arms. And then again, place that pressure in the hands that reminds the elbows to pull back and down. Even out the sides of the neck. Press the dorsal feet down. Relish the sensation of the armpit skin stretching, opening. And 2, keep pressing the back ribs up. And 1, stretch the arms. And then bring the hands back to the outer thighs, elbows to the ground. And from here, coming back to Supta Padmasana. Lift the knees slightly so you can move the buttocks towards the front of the mat again. After our Sarvangasana action. And then bring the legs back down. Relift the arms, cross the thumbs, and re-stretch. Keep the arms dynamic. Think of the trunk as having 4 columns. The front 2 columns, the back 2 columns. And try to lengthen them evenly. And then releasing and back up. And Padmasana. Almost done. Quick little Sarvangasana. Lift the hips up and release the buttocks back. Widen them apart again. Have that broad base. The spine can come from that broadness. Sarvangasana to the right. So first, bring the outer elbows in, coming into Urdhva Hastasana. Press the dorsal feet down and turn and twist to the right, stage 1. And if you're ready for stage 2, bring the arm around and invert this front hand, otherwise staying in stage 1. One more twisting exhale. And unwinding back to the middle and the other side. Urdhva Hastasana. Dorsal feet pressing down. And exhale, Baddha Vajrasana, stage 1. And if you're ready, stage 2, holding the foot and inverting that right hand and continuing the twist. And then unwinding, and we now get to take the strap off, release our legs, and just integrate those openings in Upavishtapanasana before we change sides. Make sure the kneecaps are facing the sky, the inner groins going down, the outer thighs going down. Heels firm. Pubic bone perpendicular, not dropping forward as we come forward. So keeping it perpendicular and Urdhva. Keep ironing the front thighs down to the thigh bones. Firming the knees. And then coming back up. And we are ready for the other side of our Padmasana. Left leg being offered first. So hands underneath the calf, lifting up and offering the foot. And then if we're ready for the full pose, or staying in Ardha Padmasana. Wherever we're at, taking our straps and tightening up so that as much as possible these kneecaps learn to face forward and not widen apart. Take a moment to pull the buttocks back and out, back and out. There we go. And now, arms in front, interlock the fingers, tips of the thumbs touching, lifting up, pressing the thighs down, re-lifting up, Padmasana, Padmasana. And then bringing the arms down, changing the interlock. And back out. Padmasana, Padmasana. Lift up higher and higher. And then coming back down and releasing. Supta Padmasana, so taking any support you might need as we come down, lifting the buttocks up and constantly adjusting them so that the pelvis is tilting and the anal mouth is finding the front of the mat. Press the dorsal feet down. Let the abdomen recede like a bowl towards the lower back. And then lift the arms up, cross the thumbs, and stretch the arms. Seeing out but seeing in. Traveling with the long, soft, smooth inhalations and exhalations. Discovering the rivers inside that link everything together. Riding on those flows of energy, of discovery. Keep stretching the arms, reaching with the fingers for the wall behind, the dorsal feet pressing down, the abdominal cavity stretching. And then bring the arms back up. It is now time for our Padmasana action. So we're coming up onto the elbows. Coiling the upper back and crown of the head to the mat, then pulling with our hands on the outer thighs and getting the head closer to the buttocks. When we feel ready, if we feel ready, stretching the arms back. And now holding onto the upper arms, bending the elbows. Keep lifting the trapezius muscles up. Don't let them come down towards the ears and shorten the neck. Keep pressing the shoulder blades up and the back ribs up. And now we're going to re-stretch the arms back and change the cross of the arms. Last time, last side. Notice what's happening to the breath. Resettle into full breath presence, and from that reignite actions. Find the ribs underneath the shoulder blades, press them up as we pull the elbows down. And then stretch the arms right back. And releasing elbows back to the mat. And from here we're going to come down and just lift the knees up a little bit so that we can move the buttocks towards the front of the mat. Lower back connecting to the mat. And then bring the legs back down. Arms up, cross the thumbs. Re-stretch Supta Padmasana. Think of the four columns of the trunk and try to lengthen them evenly. The front two columns, the back two columns, as we pull the arms. And then bringing the arms back up, releasing, preparing to come up. And all the way. Lifting the buttocks up, releasing them back, widening them again. Nice broad foundation, long spine. Almost there. Bharavajasana, Urdhva. Exhaling to the right. And full pose if possible, if not, staying in stage one. With each inhale, go deep to the pelvic floor and tighten in and up, and follow that with the exhale. And then back to the middle, Urdhva and Bharavajasana. Catching the foot if possible and inverting that right hand. Travel to the pelvic floor, start the inhale there. Gently tighten and lift up. And then follow the exhale for the twist. And we'll be so happy to take our straps off. Coming to a Padmasana. So feet the width of the mat, heels slightly turned out. As the legs straighten, squeeze the inner knees up to the inner groins. Squeeze the quadriceps up. Place the hands underneath the feet. Inhale, look up. And exhale, Padmasana. Coming back out, and knees to the ground. Okay, it's now time for our Sarvangasana shoulder stand. So you could do it with a chair if you wanted to. I'm going to do it with 2 bolsters, a blanket. You could do it with 3 blankets, 5 blankets, choosing the support that works for your shoulders, your neck today, and just making sure that you have a strap to bind the arms in. So gathering all of that, and we'll come back to the mat. So let's prepare our loop already. Inner armpit to the inner armpit. And coming in. Positioning ourselves, making sure the strap is handy, and specifically that the loop is handy. And then lifting up. Feet to the floor behind us. Roll the shoulders back. Place the strap over the arms, just above the elbows. Keep rolling the shoulders back, stretch the arms straight, palm face each other. And press the arms down, lift the back ribs in and up. Establish that connection and strength there. And now go ahead and bend the elbows and place the hands on the back. And let's lift up and find Sarvangasana 1. As we lift, femurs coming into the hip sockets, pushing out through the inner balls of the feet, and the outside edges of the feet coming down towards the outer hips. Long, soft, smooth inhalations and exhalations. As the shoulders open, gently start to bring the hands higher and higher up the back. And try to move the legs further away from the face. So the front thighs are ironing to the thigh bones. The feet, the tip of the triangle, are moving back, and you can really feel the elbows pressing down. Feel how the breath is changing. Each pose requires a different type of breath awareness. As the nature of the pose moves the breath and openings into different areas. Now keep the big toes touching and widen the inner heels apart. Roll the inner groins to the wall behind. Spread all 10 toes. Keep reaching up to the sky with the soles of the feet. Keep peeling the front shoulders open and back so that you feel the usefulness of the arms, the elbows, becoming your feet. The skull is light. And now let's come to Padmasana. So keep the left leg fixed where it is, firm. And slowly lowering our right legs down. Femurs connecting. We can see the legs. So let's use the intelligence of the eyes to help us reignite. Keep reaching up with that left leg. And back to Sarvangasana. And now changing sides. Ekapada Sarvangasana on the left. Grip the bones of the legs with the muscles tightly. Relax the root of the tongue and diffuse the gaze. Make sure the elbows are still pressing down, the front shoulders are still rolling back. And then bring the leg back up, Sarvangasana. And now stretch the arms straight and find Sarvangasana 2. The strap is helping to hold them completely parallel. Palms are facing each other. Press those arms down, roll the shoulders away. Wrap the muscles of the arm bones, of the arm muscles around the arm bones and extend out through the fingers like arrows. Back ribs pressing in and up. And again, in and up, that's it. And then bending the elbows, hands back to back. And slowly, with control, lowering the legs and finding Tadasana. Femurs being drawn into the hip sockets. And now let's take the strap off our arms, put it to the side, and straighten the arms, the hands reaching for the feet. Press the front thighs up towards the thigh bones, coming to Niralamba Sarvangasana. So the dorsal hand is pressing onto the floor, the blanket, and we're straightening the legs up to the sky. Outside edges of the feet coming towards the outer hips. And now we're going to lift the arms so that the palms will be on the thighs for Niramachi when you're ready. Charge those legs. Fingertips like arrows. Eyes receding backwards. And then bring the hands back down and slowly lowering the legs, the feet to the floor. And now bringing the hands behind the back for Halasana, interlocking the fingers, the tips of the thumbs touching, stretch the arms and lift each shoulder up and roll it back. Press the arms down, press the elbows down, press the forearms down. Press into the toes to lift the legs higher. Draw the femur bones into the hips. Regulate the breath now. If it's become ragged, smooth it. If it's become shorter, lengthen it. If you're over-accentuating the inhale or you're over-accentuating the exhale, even that out. Keeping the same interlock, we are going to walk our feet to the right into Padmasana. So walking the feet to the right. Re-roll the shoulders back, press the arms down, press the front thighs up. Soften the front throat. And back through the middle. Change the interlock of the fingers. Tips of the thumbs touching. Re-roll each of the shoulders back. Adjust so that you're really on the middle of the back of the skull, the sides of the neck even. Looking at your fingers, draw them into the hip sockets. Keep pressing the arms down. Keep relaxing the root of the tongue. Looking to move out of the reactions that we display on our face, which are kind of a superficial reaction, and to be deep inside with breath, with cells. And now we're going to walk the feet to the left for Padmasana. So walking. Re-rolling the front shoulders back. Seeing what's happening to the neck. We all have little twerks. So how can we become sensitive enough to feel when we've started to move out of a more optimal alignment? And when that happens, stop, bring the feet a little bit back to the middle, reposition the back of the neck, the head, and then move the feet further to the left. And see if you can find the source of the action and have a little bit more intelligence there with each breath, trusting that the body speaks to us. So if we be quiet enough and be inside enough, it will help to guide us to a more optimal position. And now back to Halasana. Almost there. We have a Situbandha Sarvangasana coming up. So first of all, releasing the hands, placing the hands on the back. And coming back up to Sarvangasana, no strap on the arms. Now we're going to bend the legs like Virasana. Feet, heels coming towards the buttocks. Separate the feet apart a little bit. Separate the knees apart just a little bit. Make sure the hands are supporting you and slowly bringing the feet to the floor. You may feel that your shoulders have lifted off the blanket a little bit. Re-roll them back to connect. Press the arms down. Press the hands up. Back ribs up. Bring our Paryankasana coiling action to the upper back. The back of the neck long. The sacrum moving towards the knees. Even out the breath, lengthen it, deepen it. Don't shy away from really pushing past what you felt your boundaries were. Push up into it, rise to greet the pose. That's it. And 5, and 4, and 3, maximize, and 2, and 1. And releasing the hands. Slowly coming down, one vertebrae at a time, immediately moving ourselves back so that the upper back, the shoulders are on the mat. And resting the inner knees against each other. Roll the shoulders back, arms extended, palms open to the sky. Resting here. Take a moment to count the inhale, to match it with the count of the exhale. And with each exhale, release more and more tensions that are felt, that are encountered, be they physical or mental. Just release them with each exhale. And when we've calmed our beating hearts and regulated our breath, we're ready to continue. So let's roll over to the side and come out. Okay, we're going to clear all of this away and come back onto our mats for Jatara Padmasana and Supta Parangustasana cycle. So one strap. Okay, so we've got our strap and just making a little loop, preparing for when we use it in Supta Parangustasana, and then lie down Jatara Padmasana first. Actually, you know what? Let's put the strap around our ankles. Buckle in the middle, facing us. Tighten up. Extend the arms. I'm going to have to move over a little bit. There we go. Push through the balls of the feet. Arms are vibrant. Now lift the hips, move them to the left. Inhale. And exhale. Holding onto the strap with your hands. The feet are nice and high. Inhale. And exhale, twisting the trunk away from the legs. Femurs being drawn into the hip sockets. Inner groins rolling back. Feel how great that is after Sarvangasana. And we're preparing to lift. So arms firm, legs firm, and lifting back up. I'm just going to move to the other side here so you can see me. I think I go off after that carpet. So re-stretch the legs. Re-stretch the arms. Lift the hips, move them to the right, and bring the legs down with control to land. And use the hand to hold the buckle. Inhale, and exhale, turning and twisting away from the legs. Femurs being drawn into the hips. Right shoulder blade moving towards the left shoulder blade. And preparing to lift up, back up, and bending the knees, and let's take the strap off. Okay, Supta Padmasana. So from Supta Tadasana, little loop in the strap. Supta Padmasana 1. Then let the shoulders hunch up towards the ears. You want to really clear any congestion in the neck that may have unconsciously accumulated. So moving the trapezius muscles down, feeling the armpits lengthen, both sides of the neck even. And now lateral Supta Padmasana. And when we're ready, bring the leg towards us. And to the right, finding lateral. Really having that sharpness and that firmness in the roots of the thighs. And then bringing the leg back up, removing the strap from the back. And Parivrita Supta Padmasana, changing the strap. Left hand holds the strap. And bring the legs towards us and across. Pushing out through the feet, firming the roots of those thighs. And then bring the leg back up, almost there. So if you're nearly back so your hips are tight, you may want to make this loop a little bit bigger. Bring the leg down so the foot and the knee are in line. Right arm comes behind and you can hold on to the loop or place the two fingers between the big toe and the index toe. Left hand on the left thigh. And then coming back through Supta Tadasana. Be right in the middle of the mat. Supta Padmasana 1. Left hand side. Keep rolling that right thigh in. Femurs coming into the hip sockets. And now lateral Supta Padmasana. Left hand holds the strap, the rest goes underneath the upper back. And with the exhale, drawing the leg down. Keep that sharpness in the roots of the thighs. So many details revealing themselves now in this state of alertness. So it's not an aggressive alertness, right? We feel calm, but we feel so much more than we did an hour ago. So keep going into that increased sensitivity, renewing actions, and seeing what comes from that, learning from the asana. And then the leg back up. We're preparing for Padmasana, so we move the strap. Right hand holds the strap now. And the leg coming towards us and across. Much harder to keep that firmness, that sharpness in the roots of the thighs here. As we twist. And then the leg coming back up. And here we can make this loop a little bigger if you want to. Supta Parangusthasana 2, bringing the foot down, foot as much as possible in line with this knee. Left arm coming around behind and holding the loop, or 2 fingers between the big toe and the index toe, right hand to the thigh. We inhabit full, deep breath cycles, the gaze diffusing, not hurrying. If you are hurrying, just notice the hurrying. It's just a mental kind of habit. You don't have to go with it. You don't have to be attached to the movement of it. Just notice. And then releasing. And feet to the ground. Okay, rolling over. And coming up to sitting. And let's come to a few forward bends. Janu Sirsasana. So, little blanket. And if you have an easy forward bend, you can take blocks to make the leg longer. And if you have a harder forward bend, take straps to help access the foot. So, left leg straight, right leg bent. If you're extending, inner groin roll into the outer groin. Inhale. And exhaling, reaching. And coming down. Soft, smooth inhalations and exhalations. That left leg staying firm. That bent right leg rolling back. You want to feel the outside edge of that bent leg pressing down into the ground, and you're extending into the pose from that action. And then back up. And changing sides. Right leg extended, left leg in its position, inner groin rolling back. And inhale. And exhaling, reaching Janu Sirsasana. So about this stage and this duration of the practice, we start to get a little tired, mentally and physically. So really important to just come back to counting the breath, counting the inhale, counting the exhale. That is the tool through which to kind of endure the last part of the practice with an even nature, with dispassion. And then coming back up. And back out. Okay, moving the blanket across. Left leg extended straight. And right leg in Virasana. If you like to extend the length of the leg, placing the blocks in place, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. Inhaling and exhaling, really lengthen. And down. With your hands, pull on that foot and pound the head of that left femur bone into the hip sockets as we extend the trunk forward. Keep pressing to the top of that right foot. Densifying the right buttock. And coming back out. And changing sides. Nice and smooth and steady. Right leg straight. Left leg Virasana. Preparing. Inhale, rising up. And exhale, forward. Coming down. Use the hands to pull. Feel that pull traveling down the length of the leg to the head of the femur bone, into the hip sockets. Draw it in as the trunk comes forward. And then coming back up. And releasing. Alright, moving into some twists now, so you can move this block to the side. Now you can always use the wall if you wanted to. Madhujasana 3. So, right knee bent in Madhujasana, both buttocks sitting on the blanket, left leg extended. Preparing, twisting to the right. And then inhale, lift the left arm, get that length, keep the left leg full of vibrancy. And exhale across. Use this hand to push the thigh to the left, so you can better get the outer armpit all the way fixed in there. Now extend the arm and exhale across. If you can't exhale across, hold on to the foot. And then bring the other arm behind and joining hands. Madhujasana 3. Keep that left leg rock solid. And unwinding, changing sides. Preparing for Madhujasana 3. First of all, just coming in halfway and allowing our abdomen to get used to twisting on the left now. And then lift that right arm up and reach forward, place the left hand on the thigh and move it to the right so you can better get the outer armpit rubbing against the outer knee. And now extend the arm, and you have 2 options, either holding the foot or exhaling around and then joining hands. Madhujasana 3. Each inhale, lengthen up the spine. Each exhale, turning and twisting. Repacify the face. And 2. And 1. And unwinding, releasing. We now have a double Padmasana, hips, and then we are going into the finale of our practice, Urdhva Dhanurasana. So, I'm moving this to the side, putting the blocks away. If you need padding for your Padmasana, of course you're going to take that. Left leg underneath, right leg on top, and exhaling forward. And to the right. And to the left. And back up. And changing sides. The Yoga Mudra. And then to the right. Oh, I love that sensation. And to the left. Just feels so perfect. And back up. And now it's time. Urdhva Dhanurasana. Everything is ready for it. The only thing that might not be ready for it is our stamina. But we have mental willpower over that. So let's come and lie down on the mat and finish this up with as much radiance as we can and enjoy a beautiful Shavasana. Okay, coming down to lie on our backs. Preparing. We're going to lift the crown of the head first. That's going to be like our base position. And then from there, we will lift up to Urdhva Dhanurasana. Then we'll come back to the crown of the head. And then we'll lift up again, come back to the crown of the head, lift up again, so 3 times, and then come back down and rest here, not bringing the knees towards us. Spine straight and neutral on the earth. Okay, so giving it our best. Whatever that is today, just making a little headway into those areas. Hands in position. Spreading the palms and the fingers widely, not letting the hands be too close to each other. Preparing, inhale, and exhaling to the crown of the head. Now look at your hands, look at your elbows. Make sure that the outer elbows are not splaying. Draw them in towards each other. Press down into the heels of the hands. Lift the buttocks up higher. Preparing, are we ready? Inhale. And exhale, lifting up, Urdhva Dhanurasana. That's it, pump the buttocks higher. And 5, and 4, lift up. And 3, and 2, and 1. Coming back to the crown of the head. Look at the elbows, bring them in. Make sure the feet are still parallel. Inhale and exhale, lifting up. Second one. Lift the heels, lift the buttocks higher. And 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Back down to the crown of the head. Adjust as needed. Watch the elbows. Third one, ready? Inhale and exhale, lift. And 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Back to the crown of the head and back down. And resting in the knees against each other. Deep inhalation, deep exhalation. Relax the shoulders, relax the jaw, relax the face. We've got another set of these coming up, so just really let this moment melt into the ground. All right, are we ready? So let's bring the feet back in, heels coming close to the buttocks, and slightly separate the heels apart. Let's bring the hands back into position and spread our fingers even more widely apart. Preparing, inhale, exhale, lift the hips. Inhale, exhale, come to the crown of the head. Equalize the elbows, find your pressure in the heels of the hands, lift the buttocks higher. Inhale and exhale, lifting up. That's it, and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Back to the crown of the head, elbows in, and again, lifting up. And 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Coming down to the crown of the head. Last time, last one. Give it your all. Inhale and exhale, lifting up. And 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Back to the crown of the head. And back down. Move the feet away. Rest the inner knees against each other. Make sure the lower back is supported. Extend the arms. And come back to even breath, where everything is just letting go into the ground. And one last pose before Shavasana, Padmasana. It's going to feel amazing. So rolling over and feet the width of the mat. Placing the hands underneath the feet. And this is where I get this beautiful accordion let go of the whole spine. It goes dunk, 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 dunk. Feels so good. So inhale, look up, grip your legs, and exhale, Padmasana. Pull yourselves forward. Keep the shoulders broad. The brain completely passive. And then releasing. And it is now time for Shavasana. So there are many ways to take Shavasana. I would recommend a bolster under the knees after the 6 back bends we've just done to ensure that our lower backs and our abdomen completely restore during our Shavasana. So blanket, bolster, anything you might want to cover yourself up if you're in a colder climate, and let's meet back on the mat. Here we are. We've worked so hard to get to this place. Shavasana, not just a complete release, but that doorway with a veil is very thin between
action, this world, and meditational immersion. So even as we rest in that state of purposefulness, i.e. no purpose, just peace, no more striving, still having that inner sensitivity, observing the states of Shavasana. Right, with all that said, let's come in. As we lie down, make sure that you're really adjusting the hips so that your lower back is really connecting to the ground. Make sure that this blanket, if you have one under the head, is underneath the neck and the head, but not the shoulders. And then our shoulders opening. Wiggling around a little bit so that we can really come into a sensitive nuance noticing of the back body, and be sure that it's placed as evenly as possible before closing the eyelids. Inhale and exhale, letting go into Shavasana.
And now just bringing the hands to rest on the abdomen. And then the eyelids opening, the gaze diffusing. Seeing this in front, seeing this behind, and seeing this out of the sides of the temples. And then rolling over in order to make our way out. And this is a very sacred moment to actually ask for guidance around things that we may need guidance about. Very sacred space now, distilled. Minds as calm as they're going to be today probably, and therefore more ready to hear and to listen to a deeper type of intelligence, intuitive intelligence. So sitting calmly, tall and straight, bringing the hands together, giving thanks for this moment, giving thanks to our bodies and thanks to our minds. Thanks to the teachers who have come before us. Thanks to this time that we dedicated today to this practice. And then, if there's any issue or area in your life that feels tangled, open it up to the divine now. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. As the hands release and the eyes open, and as our practice is completed, we'll find that that deeper state of intelligence, that sensitivity to the webs of interconnection that are revealed with greater depth and complexity each time we practice, keeping that sensitivity alive and staying in touch with intuitive intelligence that way. So if there was an issue that you had that you offered up to the divine and the intuitive answer wasn't given then, just keep noticing throughout the rest of this day what signs come, what comes, and allow yourself a moment of trust to follow that and see what happens. Namaste, a pleasure to practice together. Thank you for being here. I look forward to practicing again together soon. Take care.